That's so smart. And one of the things I love about this show is every time we record, we come up with 17 more episode topics. So I feel like another episode topic could be how to measure engagement, how to A/B test what works, so that we can suss out for our own audience, because every audience is going to be different, what we should be posting. So perhaps we'll do that in a future topic. Next up, and we covered this very briefly in part one, but and I've never actually seen them. This is how crazy it is, right? There's so much going on LinkedIn. I don't have the app on my phone, so I've never seen a LinkedIn story. What the heck is a LinkedIn story? Is it exactly the same as an Instagram story? Should we be using it, and what should we be posting on there?
It is exactly the same as an Instagram story. So on the mobile app, when you log into LinkedIn, it's got the little circles, exactly the same as Instagram with people's faces. You click on them and people share stories. Essentially, they're micro content. Now, when they first launched, there was quite a bit of popularity. There was also a lot of people that hated them because it is more personal social media type content as opposed to the professional stuff. And, the LinkedIn police were quick to criticize it. But they have their place. I have seen them die out significantly since then. So they're not getting much attention. But there is still a benefit. I'd recommend utilizing them. I think a lot of it depends on the type of person that you are. What I will say, and we covered this in the last episode, the general rule of thumb with the algorithm on LinkedIn is to post once per day. With stories, you can post several a day because they're micro content, they're snippets. People will literally skip through them, and you could post 4 to 5 a day, and that's not going to be seen as intrusive because it's not appearing in the feed. They'd have to click on it and skip through it. They get control, they can do it quickly. So it is slightly different rules. But again, it definitely, I think, aligns to your personality. If you're quite outgoing, if you are quite a content creator, then stories can work well, but they're not in any way to sort of take attention away from core content.
Sure. So, am I right in thinking that an example here should be that, and I should be doing this when I sit down to write the show notes? I'm making it for this episode because it's so based around LinkedIn. I should be documenting that. I should be documenting jumping on a call with you. I should be documenting when you say at the end of the show goodbye, and the slogan that you're bringing up here, Daniel. Are these examples of what we should be putting in our LinkedIn story?
Yeah, exactly. You're documenting your day. So you might do a screenshot of you and I having this chat. Then you might take a photo of the notes you've got on paper, and you might record a little selfie, lots of different things like that where people are then really seeing what you're doing and learning more about you. And it does help build personal brand and help you're going to be reaching another pocket of people.
Yeah, because I know this doesn't translate totally, but on Instagram, maybe I get, say, 100 likes on a post, whatever. I don't focus on Insta. The only thing I care about is really YouTube, podcasts, and then number two, which is going to become more important over time, as we kind of do a behind the scenes kind of post and content that the audience will see in the next few months. It will become LinkedIn. That'll be the next most important platform for me. But I know on Instagram, if I post something, maybe get 100 likes, 200 likes. But if I post a story, it immediately, within like minutes, has thousands and thousands of views. So I guess it's down to LinkedIn now as to what they want to prioritize over time. But clearly, there's people who do like that kind of a short, to the point content. Okay. This is perhaps, again, a story for a content piece for a full episode on its own right, as it becomes more and more important. But LinkedIn Live. So I don't have access to this. I think there's a form you can fill out, and I'm pretty sure I'd get access to it with the amount of video content that we produce. But should we be doing LinkedIn Lives? Because that's a way bigger time suck than writing posts and being able to schedule them ahead of time.
Yeah, LinkedIn Lives are great. You are right, Will. You have to apply first. So you have to go to linkedin.com and there's an application form for you to fill in. I had to apply, I think, 4 times before I got approved.
Oh, wow.
Seems to be a common thread. Most people have to apply anywhere between 3, 6+ times before they get approved. And it's mainly because LinkedIn is inundated with these applications and obviously trying to filter through them in the best way possible. So do keep at it. The other key thing to note with it is it's not done through LinkedIn. So whereas on Facebook, you log into Facebook, you click go live and you're live, with LinkedIn, you have to do it through a third-party platform. So I use something called StreamYard. LinkedIn literally gives you a list of recommended platforms you can use. I will log into StreamYard, click go live, and then it streams it through LinkedIn, and you can connect it to your other platforms as well. But live content is super engaging. It's video to the next level. It's you there. You could do interviews with experts. You could discuss things internally, have someone like a product expert from your company, share some insights. It's engaging content. It does drive good views. It can drive great engagement when you've got people asking questions and commenting. It should definitely be a part of the content strategy, but you need to be confident on video. You need to be competent on video, you need to have the right things set up to do it. So it's not something necessarily that every sales rep in an organization should be doing, but definitely as a company, you should have some live presence.
So on this show, and both yourself and your training and my training as well, we're all about being real about this. It's now the beginning of February as we record this episode. I'm going to apply for LinkedIn Live today and probably tomorrow from the sound of things, and probably the week after until I get on. And as soon as we're approved, me and you can do a live Q&A. Well, I'll host it from the salesman.org studios. So just to document the journey of getting on LinkedIn Live, it's the 3rd of February today. I'll apply later on and we'll see when we get in. If we get it from the side of things, if they're that inundated, because clearly live is important, and it's only going to become. I feel like live is important, and it's going to become more important as an opportunity to stand out, because you can look great reading from an auto cue when it's all chopped up and there's B-roll footage put over the top. But when you're live and people can ask you questions and you can't really hide from an audience, especially if there's even a couple of hundred people watching, the chat just gets, because we do YouTube lives and we see this. The spam gets the audience and the chat gets so riled up if you ignore a question, if you try and dodge something, that they just spam and you can't avoid it. So I think that's for the real pros for LinkedIn Live and live content in general. It gives them an opportunity to really stand out. So as I said, I'll do that. I'll apply today, and we'll jump on a live chat, perhaps a Q&A session when that rolls out. Okay, hashtags. There's this. Before we go to hashtags, is LinkedIn just copying what's working on every other platform? Even though, for example, Twitter's just a small amount of text, hashtags, and has really niched down onto that specific thing and has really tried to dominate it. Is LinkedIn just taking everything and throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks here?
Maybe. Let's be fair, LinkedIn is a social media network, so they're going to be doing things very similar to others. But hashtags have their place. I think one thing to understand, every social media network is different. So yes, they all have hashtags, but the way you use them will differ vastly on each network, and LinkedIn especially. One of the biggest traps I see, and we'll discuss tagging in a minute, people think they're going to sort of hack LinkedIn by putting in 10 to 20 hashtags, tagging in 10 to 20 people, and that's going to guarantee them good engagement. And you might see a small increase, but beyond that, the negative impacts dwarf the positives. Hashtags are great because it makes your content searchable. So people follow hashtags on LinkedIn. People will search keywords, and if it's within the hashtag or within the text, then your post is going to show up. So it makes it visible, but it doesn't have a huge impact on engagement. Having hashtags isn't going to drive more likes and comments. The post will do that. Have a good post. The hashtag is just to make it sort of trackable and searchable.